What's up, everybody? I think I'm recording. Let's find out. Yeah. Don't like these mirrors. And everybody likes them because they look cool and like wings and downforce. But so you might be wondering, Dave from Dave's Man Cave, what is it that you are riding? I'm on a 24 Aprilia RS660. Not my bike. My neighbor's bike. Alex, next door. He was like, hey, been riding dirt bikes forever. Want to buy a street bike. So this is what he selected. Nice quick shifter. Very smooth. Oh, that wind feels good because it's already hot as shit out. It's already 91 degrees this early in the morning. So we're going to do a ride review. It's a 24. Got it at a decent price. Ducati Panigale V2 or Super Sport, hard to tell. They look very similar. I think that might have no, the Panigale V2 was offered in white. I don't think the new one is yet. Man, these mirrors suck. But I guess they look cool. Yeah, so anyway, Alex was like, hey, I don't have my motorcycle license yet, and I've never bought a street bike, so I was like, would you mind going down there with me and helping me check it out? So it's got less than 5,000 miles. It's got a race fit Dominator exhaust on it. No tune, everything else is stock other than the mirrors and the tail tidy and the exhaust. Feels pretty good. It's got decent tires. Anyway, picked it up for $9,500. So got a pretty decent deal. Couple little cosmetic blemishes. Never been down, but it's just got a couple little things here. But nothing that can't easily be fixed very cheaply. It really just needs pressure washing, chain tightened and oiled, and so the guy who he bought it from is a Gwinnett cop. So I'm like, okay, that's already, so you got a cop, somebody I feel is certainly more trustworthy than just some schmuck you're buying a bike from and don't know anything about. And still got a year and a half of factory warranty, which that's key. So he picked it up for $9,500 for a low mileage bike that's only 6-7 months old. Almost 8 months old. He bought it in January, brand new from Southeast Cycles, and really it just needs a bath. Just needs a wash and tighten and oil the chain. Aprilia has a really good quick shifter. And I do like Aprilias. Aprilias are great bikes. Their dealer network, can be a bit hit or miss. But overall, they make a good bike. My one issue with the V4s are the valves, the rear cylinders. And I'm not bashing Aprilia. I really like them a lot. But if you have a V4, RSV, or a Tuono, you end up, and if you ride it hard and put a lot of miles on it, you're going to be checking your valves a lot. And it's expensive on a V4. I don't have the tools or the knowledge to do it myself, so, you know, when you got to pay a dealer $1,500, $1,600 every 6 months. Dean had this problem with his, where he lost all compression on one of the rear cylinders. He's like, man, my bike is really down on power. And it's because the rear cylinder head overheats. It anneals and softens the block, the head, the steel valve guides, and so then they start wearing prematurely. And the piston, the cylinder, the valve going up and down wears the hole, which should be perfectly round to keep the thing going in a straight direction. It wore it in an oval, so that the valve was no longer sitting flush on the valve seat. It was canted, which was letting all the compression out. It was making no power in that cylinder, and had to replace the rear cylinder head. Cost, a few grand for the parts and labor and all that. And the guy there is an Aprilia Master Tech, told him, yeah, if you just ride the bikes around, the normal valve intervals are fine. But he's like, if you're doing track days or riding it like you're at a track day, he's like, you're going to want to check the valves every other track day. So after every 2-3 track days, you're going to want to check the valves. Or every 6,000 miles, you're going to do a valve job. And it's like, I'm not doing valves twice a year. It adds $3,000 minimum to the cost of owning the bike per year. Like, I'm just not willing to do that. So, but I don't believe that the smaller, the parallel twins have that same issue. I've not heard that. So this would be a good bike for him. Suspension feels okay. It is adjustable. Now, it's not the factory, so it's probably just preload and a couple things. Maybe it's got compression and rebound on the back. The front is preload, and I have a feeling it's probably to save cost. It's going to have, one fork does compression, the other one does rebound. And that's fine, because actually some more expensive bikes have that. It works. And some people, as long as the valving is really high quality and it's, done right, some people will actually think that that's actually a better way to do it than having damping and compression damping and rebound in both forks. The reason being, you can truly isolate those two circuits from one another, so that changing one has no impact on the other. So, I am driving around with no tag on this bike, but I do have the bill of sale in my pocket, and the bill of sale is from a cop that works for that same department as that cop. So if I get pulled over, I'll just be like, hey, we literally just bought this. You're probably looking at the camera going, well, why are you passing him? I just am. Because I ain't doing nothing wrong. He's definitely going to see that I don't have a tag. He's definitely going to pull me over. We'll see. Maybe he's not paying attention. Good, he's not. Or he didn't get far enough behind me to notice that there's no tag. It's alright. It's legal, as long as you got the bill of sale. Not as, it's a little chunky, it's a little stiff on the down. It works nice, it blips nice, but it's not as good on the downshift as it is on the up. The up takes a little less pressure and it's just a little more crisp. I didn't even look to see how much gas is in this thing. Well, I'm assuming it would. Oh, apparently it's got Bluetooth integration. So, all right, let's go over the specs on, well, the specs that I know off the top of my, oh, duh, fuel gauge, unlike the Aprilia that I had. Both of them didn't have fuel gauges. So, it's got ride modes, They call it commuter and dynamic, so it's basically road and sport. And then you got a user-defined one where you can go in and change all the settings. So you got wheelie control, you got traction control, you got ABS. I think this is lean angle sensing. I'm pretty sure. Not entirely sure, but I'm pretty sure. You got Brembos up front, probably just sacks, suspension and stuff. But it looks like it does have a Bluetooth module. If you look down there, it's got stuff for phone. So it looks like you can pair it to your phone. I like that you can go in and change all the settings yourself. It's got a great sound. Now he's got a race fit Dominator, he said, but he did buy it off eBay, which means it's probably not an actual race fit Dominator. And I say that because the logo, like the emblem, the badge, is a sticker, and it's on the hottest part of the day, so it just kind of cooked and it's baking off. So as opposed to it being like a metal, plate or laser etching or something like that. But I looked at it, it's a piece of metal, it's fine. He's got a Rage Cycles tail tidy on the thing. Fine, whatever. I think they're overpriced for what they are, but whatever. They work. People seem to like them. Going over that little rise in the road in first, was picking the front end up. Saw a bunch of lights flashing. Wheelie control, just put it back down. I'll say the gearbox isn't crazy smooth. Make sure that little tab is still on there. Yeah, those mirrors are really not good at all. They look cool. They're made to look like winglets, for downforce and stuff. So in that regard, but they're really tinted, so everything's got this dark bluish tinge to it. Let's get on the highway for a little bit and see how it does up there. It says Sugarloaf, yeah. See how much get up and go it's got once we get over to the highway. Oh man, it's hot. Sounds good, man. Not a ton of power. I feel like we got to get up in the revs. Red line's up around 11.5. All right, so I'm not even getting anywhere near the rev line. It feels really good. I mean, You can tell it's built to a budget. It's built to a price point. Do I like it? Yeah. Suspension definitely needs some setup. That suspension is so spaghetti in the front. And I think that's why he's got like almost no chicken strips on the front tire. I think that's because the front is diving way too much. Good. I mean, to me it feels really down on power. These things are making like 100 at the crank, so high 80s. It also doesn't have a tune, and I don't know with that exhaust if it's running lean and maybe losing a little power, but I like that you can just wind it out. It's smooth, it's stable. It's got goddamn cruise control. So what am I tooling along at like 75 miles an hour in 6? Running about 5,300, 5,200 RPMs. Not bad. Honestly, it's probably about the same as my ZX10. Although that revs higher. So as a percentage, this is higher in its rev range, but whatever. Top speed on this thing, maybe with a big dude like me, but if you're a smaller guy in a tuck, you could probably hit a legit 140 in this, taking out speedo error. But overall, I mean, it feels good. Now, the biggest question is the price and what you get. These things new are 13 and change, I think. I think now you could spend maybe almost 15 to get the factory with Öhlins. Do I like the bike? Yes. Does it look fantastic? Yes. Does it sound good with a slip-on? Yeah. Parallel Twin's got a really nice tone and growl to it. It sounds really nice. On the value though, for the performance and all the other shit of what you get, I would, if you had this much money to spend on a street bike, and you didn't care as much about the fairing, I'd say you'd be better off with, I mean, a ZX6R costs the same brand new as this. Actually, it might even be cheaper, and it's a better, faster bike. Now, it doesn't have the electronics and cruise control, but it is $1,000 or $2 cheaper, at least $1,000 cheaper. But in this price range, you could be looking at Street Triple RS 765, which gives you a lot more power, and you get Öhlins. You literally get everything other than, I think, cruise control. I don't think that one has cruise control. But other than that, do I like it? Absolutely. This is a fun bike. I think this will be great for him. It's friendly as a beginner bike. Yeah, suspension definitely needs setup. He's not as heavy as me, but he's tall. He's probably 190, 200 pounds, somewhere in there. He'll definitely want to get this set up. Hitting that bump on the highway just a little bit back there, going onto the bridge. Definitely needs some preload and some adjustment on the clickers. That's a bit harsh. The front dives really easily. But overall, to pick this up for 9,500 bucks, it's already got an exhaust and a tail tidy. And it still has 1.5 years of factory warranty. I'd say this was a good buy. It does have power, but you've got to ride it kind of like a 600. You're like, oh, it's a twin, it'll have torque. It does have some torque, but it's not... Its mid-range is actually not as much punch as I thought it was going to have. So if you want to get on and pass someone, I mean, here we are at 80 miles an hour, right in the middle of the power band. So you go, oh, I want to pass this truck. It'll do it, but it's kind of lazy. So let's get back down around 80 and drop it 2 gears. Much better. Much better. But still, like a 600 would kill this thing in straight out performance. So if you're looking for like the best bang for the buck in the mid bike category of at least 100 horsepower, I still think the best buy is the ZX6R. But if you want better electronics and a cool sound, and you want the little bit of exotic you know, Italian name and pedigree, I think it's a good option. You have to be willing to pay the extra money because you want an Aprilia. That's what it comes down to. Is having an Aprilia, is having the cool Italian bike worth what realistically is probably, if you're buying new, about $2,000 more than I really think the bike is worth mechanically. If that's worth it to you, then I think, yeah, go for it. I don't know how this works, but the cruise control, can't seem to turn it on. I did no research on this prior, just going by what I know about them in general. But to the value part, if you're willing to pay $2,000, probably more than the bike is really worth as a sum of its parts, I say go for it. It's cool to have an Aprilia, have something different. And it is genuinely, they're supposed to be great bikes, and it feels great, considering I've never been on one before, never even sat on one. Don't even know if I've ever seen one up close. And it's totally not set up for me. I think it's really cool. But in this price range, you got 3 massive competitors. Yamaha R9, ZX6R, if you want the full fairings. And I'd say both of those are much better performance motorcycles. Better lap times, better everything power-wise and all things performance. And then you got the straight triple RS660. They're all in the same price range within a few $100. And for me, I would pick one of those 3. For for me, and what I like and what I value at this point in my riding career, I'd go with an R9. If you want the fairing, my second choice would be the ZX6R. And then the Street Triple. Now, you can argue, well, those are the next step up in CCs and power. That's not what this is really competing against. What this is competing against would be the CBR 650R, the Ninja 650R, the Yamaha R7. Now, in that category, if you're looking at categories and not price points, that's the problem, is that, not problem, but that's the situation. This bike is mechanically designed to go against R7s, Ninja 650, CBR 650R, that kind of stuff. But its price point is R9, ZX6R, Gixxer 750, and Street Triple RS. And that's my critique of this, is that you're mechanically, they've made a bike to compete against those other mid-range entry-level sport bikes, and I think in that class, if you take price out, they have knocked it out of the park. It does very, very well there. It's the better bike, it's cooler, it's got all the tech, and I think it puts all those other ones to shame on a racetrack, on a spec sheet, you name it. But if you're going by price category and where they've placed it in the market competitively from a cost, it's playing with the big boys. It's playing with the Ninja 600, ZX636, and I think then that's, to me, where it loses its luster. This is for an entry-level rider, new rider that doesn't want to outgrow it in 2 weeks like you would with a 400, right? You want to be able to stick with it for a while and have fun on track and have, good suspension and stuff. But it's a new rider that's got a little bit more money to spend. And a lot of new riders don't. But if you're a new rider that's, got a bit more cheddar to spend on your first bike, that sort of narrow niche, I think is where this is best played. My advice is, typically, if you're a new rider, go with something cheaper, because you're gonna drop it. What's this jerk off doing? Come on, figure it out, jerk off. So I'm going to stop talking and just ride it a little bit till we get home to his house. And that's kind of the overview. Great bike. Best in its market class. But I would say nowhere near best in its price class. So that's my thoughts. For better or worse. It's got a little bit of pull. Actually, it's weird, it's a twin, but you gotta ride it like a 600. I'm so used to twins just having all this torque and mid-range, and this thing likes to rev. So if you're riding like a lot of twins, like most twins, you're sitting here at just under 5,000 and you'd have just gobs of power and torque like right there, and then they'd run out of steam. This is the opposite. It's got torque, but there's no sense of urgency until you get it up around 9,000-10,000. It does sound glorious doing it though, won't lie. Where they went. They were following me, but coping with the bumps fairly well. It does tip in nice. Seems to track pretty well, squishy suspension aside. Unless it needs springs, at least that stuff can be tuned out.